Viewer discretion is advised.
Look at the time now. Got a good book, pop in the DVD, sit back and enjoy the super awesome media. How's it going, bookworms, filmsters? I'm Katana, and welcome to 2017. Oh man, let me tell you, this is going to be a great year. More books, more movies, more reviews. Why am I talking like I have a plan? I can't see the future. I ain't a fortune teller. But all in all, I think this is going to be a great year. About a year ago, January 2016, this channel actually started. So it's amazing to see how much has progressed in viewership. So thank you. And I'll leave it at that. Because today, we are going to become detectives. Even though our protagonist isn't really a detective and yet he's solving a murder. But anyway, something needs to be solved. No, not that. Someone will get that done. Today, we're going to be diving into the Swedish world of the girl with the dragon tattoo. Strangely enough, this book actually has two plots. The first one introduces the story with Mikael Blomkvist, a Swedish financial journalist and publisher of his own magazine company, Millennium. They are known for exposing the truth of corporate scandals, but because of a bad source, he's in deep waters with his current target, Wennerström. The court convicts him of libel and sentences him to 3 months in prison. And now we commence plot 2. Around Christmas time, Mikael is called upon by Henrik Wenga, former CEO of the Wenga Corporations. They meet up, in which Henrik asks two things of Mikael. One is a cover story, to write an autobiography of him and his insane and messed up family. The second is the real reason, for Mikael to use his incredible journalistic and research skills to uncover the mystery of his great niece, Harriet Wenga. Agreeing to stay 1 year on the island of Hedestad in exchange for dirt on Wennerström, what can Mikael accomplish, and what secrets will he discover that were better left hidden? And there you go, a lock room mystery with freezing snow and loads of coffee. So now, let's check out who our European cast is today. Quickly mentioning the pro about this book, character development is excellent. Majority of them feel so fleshed out with their own personal backstories and conversations with one another. Mikael Blomkvist is our main protagonist. And before you all go, but Katana, there's not one goddamn tattoo on him! We'll get to her. It's just that he starts off the story, ends the story, and everything in between is revolved around him. So yeah, Mikael's our lead. Like I said, he's a journalist and publisher for Millennium. The dedication he has for his job is quite astounding. He's written like a superhero, going out of his way to shed light on these corporate scandals and shady deals, making Sweden a better place to live. And when he's convicted of libel, he makes the decision to leave the company to maintain his credibility. Pretty self-sacrificial on his behalf. Okay, now we can talk about our titular character, the girl with the dragon tattoo. Lisbeth Salander is a very intelligent but introverted hacker. She works in this high-class security protection agency named Milton Security and is so skilled that she normally takes cases interesting only to her. She's got a detailed backstory about her violent and asocial behavior growing up, along with a lack of education that declares her legally retarded and is under a court-appointed guardianship. She's definitely not the easiest to warm up to, but when it happens, it's something truly special. Henrik Wenga is the former CEO of the Wenga Corporations. Very obsessive over this mystery for 40 years now, mainly because someone's been taunting him with significant flowers. His family always seems to say the same thing. He's gone nuts. He's crazy. But once you actually meet him, he's pretty polite, an incredible host, and mesmerizes you with his stories. Erika Berger is the editor-in-chief of Millennium. She's also the occasional fuck buddy to Mikael. Best friends as well, so her trust and loyalty isn't wary on him. She's loud and opinionated and can carry an argument until she's made her point clear. That's some of the mains right there, but we still got a few interesting Vangirs to cover. Martin Wenga is the brother of Harriet and great-nephew of Henrik. He's also the current CEO of Wenga Corporations. On his part, he's pretty sophisticated, being as though he has one of the nicer looking houses in Hedestad, and his relationship with Mikael is welcoming. And Cecilia Wenga is Henrik's cousin. She's the headmistress of a preparatory school and really doesn't fall for any of Mikael's bullshit cover story like most. What's very interesting is that they kinda get a little cozy during his stay. Like booty call cozy. Can't imagine a warmer night. But that's all for the characters. So let's start talking pros. To start things off, some of the details were well crafted. Some of the details. And the majority of points, this book had a great handle on explaining exposition and backstory to the very brim. Like with Henrik's grandpa tales about his youth, and the family in general were just entertaining, or reasons why Lisbeth turned out the way she is. There's moments of plot and moments spared for building character, which is necessary if we're going to be following them in the sequel novels. The prologue was pretty cool, almost felt cinematic to read and just giving you a taste of what's to come. And this book makes a good attempt to bring awareness to some issues, particularly involving women. The original Swedish title is Men Who Hate Women, so that should give you some idea about this. Seriously, I started reading this as a man, almost finished with a half-grown vagina. But yeah, there's talk of sexual assault, business corruption, the responsibilities of a journalist, and other things that you could probably learn if you look in between the lines. Reeling back to the woman, you'll probably think that this book is a little misogynistic, but for me that's entirely not the case since the female characters do seem glorified. Reading their arcs to the end, you get a better idea of how empowering and independent these ladies become. Lisbeth's entire character is one that you would not dare to screw with. After Mikael's leave of Millennium, Erica is taking charge and doing her damnness to keep it running. Even Cecilia, once you read more about her, learn that she's the one controlling her life and the relationship formed with Mikael and Hedestedt. And the best thing is that they're still likable. The book doesn't try to shove it in your face that girls rule. Terrible things are done to the women in this book, some more than others, but they are redeemed later on and never feel like a personal attack from Larsen himself. It's intentional for the story and overall makes a great mystery. So yeah, really great stuff on the technical and even moral note, but I'd be lying if I said it didn't have its fair share of problems. One of my main concerns was the Wennerström plot itself. It's not the most enjoyable part of the story as it can bore you with highly detailed financial jibber jabber. Most likely due to Larsen's own personal background as a financial journalist, the vocabulary becomes too long and technical, making the story dry at the beginning before the mystery even begins and becomes more of a chore instead of something to enjoy. This could have easily been summarized along with some other points. As I said, some portions of the story had enjoyable details, while others needed to be shortened. I mean, you're practically experiencing every day, every hour, every second with Mikael and Hedestedt. It's one thing to bring immersion to the reader, but not to the point where it actually feels like work. That you alone are responsible to solving this mystery, or else the book won't tell you. And it does get ridiculous, not by following Mikael getting coffee every fucking morning, or trying to stay awake during the history lesson about the Swedish world of finance, but this book seriously stops for a product placement. I kid you not, this book stops to plug in an Apple product. Unsurprisingly, she sets her sights on the best available alternative, the new Apple PowerBook G4 that's 1.0 GHz, an aluminum case with a PowerPC 7451 processor with an multi-vec velocity engine, 960 megabytes of RAM, and a 60 gigabyte hard drive, Bluetooth, and built-in CD and DVD burners. Quickly, buy now at your nearest gateway retail store before it's too late! When it came to the mystery, there was just one point where I was just like, really? Is that how you figure it out? It's the scene where Mikael's daughter, Pernilla, comes to visit and just gives him the answer. To me, that felt really out of place, mainly because his daughter rarely appeared any other time in the story, is given no dialogue up till that moment, and when she does get it, it feels pretty flat with no personality. That's the best way I can describe it. That clue did not feel earned at all, just a catalyst to advance the plot. And by reaching the end, I looked at the book as a whole and concluded another major problem. The plots never felt connected to begin with. We start with Wennerström, then move to the Harriet case, and once that's been taken care of, it's back to Wennerström. This also ruins the satisfying feeling of solving the mystery because we're taken back to the technical jibber jabber, sucking the life out of you until you reach that conclusion. The feeling from plot 2 is just destroyed because you did it! You solved the case of Harriet. You feel great, everyone feels great, but the book says no, it still has to wrap things up, and you're just on your knees trying to drag it back saying, book, please, I know I made mistakes, but please let me have this. Don't take this away from me, baby. I really felt like the plots were going to merge at some point. There was so much history about Venestrom in the beginning that you'd think it would play a bigger role with the mystery, but that's not the case. It could have been summed up and it still wouldn't have affected the outcomes. Maybe things would have been better if the Venestrom plot got solved during the investigation, but keeping that as the official book's ending took away the enjoyment and made it dry again. Last but not least, I want to talk about the pacing of this story. This book is about 600 pages long. It is not an easy read and would be pretty masochistic of you to try and do it in one sitting. There are some complaints about the book being excruciatingly long and with all the immense detail it contains. For me, I actually welcome the pacing. Don't get me wrong, there are portions that should have been scrapped entirely, but with all the good and bad details, I still got a sense of realness. The breaks between working on the case had time to develop the characters, and the extensive deducing process put me in the mind of a real detective. This is a 40-year-old case that didn't have any evidence until Miguel showed up. And this was a year-long agreement. I never expected him to find new evidence so fast. He's a journalist, not a detective, so there's just a pinch of credibility to his character that justifies the slow pacing. It may not be for everyone, but I had fun taking things slow. Overall, the mystery itself was intriguing, and I had a blast trying to solve it. The characters were great, the business storyline could have been shortened, and I'm excited to get into the rest of this trilogy sometime in the future. So that was the book. It does have its problems, but it won't disappoint until you actually reach the part of the mystery. Now it's time to check out the film adaptation, specifically David Fincher's 2011 version. So sit back, relax, and enjoy as we review The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. So before the movie officially begins, we get a quick scene of the prologue that introduces the book. It's alright in terms of setting the mood and premise of the mystery to come. And then we're introduced to the intro credits. First of all, good luck trying to figure out who's in this movie. Not that they're not there, but I'm betting 98.9% of you are too focused on these bizarre visuals. Also, what is this opening? Sure, I'll admit it. It's freaking amazing. And you get a few hints of what's to come, like computers, dragons, Hunger Games, B-movie. But then you enter level 5, which is just straight up what the flipping fuck? What is this movie going to show me? So yeah, after that event, we're already dropped deep into the plot. And the movie's putting its good foot forward by condensing the dry business talk into simpler plot points. Miguel's avoiding the press about his recent court case against Venestrom, and there's some subtlety in the background with the news channel, giving us an understanding of what's going on. And not just for us, but also to his editor-in-chief, Erica and Millennium. To be honest, these characters don't stand out as much like in the book. Erica doesn't carry that flair and easily accepts whatever Miguel suggests. When it comes to Miguel, there's an absence of passion for this place. He sounds like he's already giving up without any rhyme or reason. These two just seem sluggish. But it's only been like 4 minutes, so maybe it's just me being too harsh right now. Next scene speeds right along to cover our other main character, the girl with the dragon tattoo. I really respect the design on her. Like the book, she's petite, skinny, fragile, but still presents herself with such distance. With this scene of handing over Miguel's information to Dirk, the asocial personality shows, giving no eye contact, looking into space, completely dissing the other people in the room. This representation of her is just marvelous. Also, with the scenes we've gotten so far, it's important to note that the pacing has also changed. Where the book thrived in the slowness to develop character and scenery, the movie speeds right through that, just jumping from plot point to plot point. It may seem like I'm trying to get over this movie fast, but no, that's just how the scenes are. Like these next ones showing Lisbeth preparing to access Venestrom's information. There's no explicit reason for it. In the book, Dirk gives her permission to do such things. Here, she's just doing it because it happened. Tiny details from the book provided just enough to justify these characters' actions. Here, it's the same scenes but no motives. Back to Miguel, he's spending Christmas at his sister's. He shares a scene with his daughter Pernilla, which is nice since it becomes relevant later, before being called by Dirk, who proposes an invitation from Henrik Wenger. Miguel decides to sleep on it, bang Erica until the morning dawn, and announces that he's stepping down as publisher. The reason? They'll never tell. Nothing about how it might ruin the company's image or taking the blame for himself, and Erica really isn't helpful here.
Are you giving up?
Stepping aside.
This makes me sick.
Come on, Miguel. You used to sound so hefty. But now you kind of sound so wimpy. So, now officially unemployed, he takes the next train to Hedestad, picked up by Dirk, and given the ride to the Vangier mansion to meet Henrik, who gives him a new freelancing job.
I need your help.
I'm doing what?
Officially assisting with my memoirs. What you really be doing is solving a mystery by doing what you do so well. You will be investigating thieves, misers, bullies, the most detestable collection of people that you will ever meet. My family.
And then Henrik goes into full-on exposition mode about his screwed up family, importantly the drunk Godfrey, the neglectful Isabella, and their 3 children.
And Harriet.
Something happened to her.
Someone in the family murdered Harriet. And for the past 40 years, that's been trying to drive me insane.
The following flashbacks are tinted in piss yellow as Henrik tells the tale of Harriet's fateful day, the day of the autumn parade where Henrik saw Harriet for the last time, and a terrible accident in the middle of the bridge. Practically the whole town came out to help, and only a few could remember seeing Harriet for a split second. Clearing out the accident took up the whole day, and by dinner, Harriet didn't show up. She didn't show up for 40 years.
And she couldn't have just run away.
No, not without being seen. No one swam across or took a boat. All the boats were still tied up on this side, Sunday. Believe me, I checked.
Believe him here or read through the book for any idea or theory you could possibly think of. All in all, he fucking checked. To confirm his suspicions, Henrik shows Miguel the picture frame flowers he's been receiving for 40 years, but that's no interest to him. Over dinner, he's feeling skeptical about the whole proposal. How is he supposed to uncover something new that Henrik or the police couldn't do in 40 years?
I'll pay you double your salary for as many months as it takes. I'll quadruple it if you solve the mystery. I'm not done. I will throw in one more thing, even though you're a terrible negotiator. Hans Erik Wennerstrom. You were right about him. You just couldn't prove it.
Yes, of course. Money and information, the devil's combo deal. The next scene confirms his deal by packing up in front of Erica, who again feels so useless. I really hate it. Not only is she just standing in the sidelines, but her voice is also just too soft and passive.
We're in the middle of the worst crisis ever, and you're writing a memoir.
You fired me. I need something to do.
You fired you. I need you here, not the North Pole. Mikael, you know what this is going to look like.
Yeah.
You're leaving me here to fight him alone.
It's 4 hours by train. It's not the North Pole.
Sorry, honey, you just don't got any bark or bite to you. Back to Lisbeth, she goes to visit her appointed guardian, Holger Baumgren, but finds him knocked out on the floor. She takes him to the hospital to learn that he suffered a cerebral hemorrhage. And that's the scene. Not that it's bad or anything. You get some emotional connection with Lisbeth, but at this point, the book gives a bit more to describe why this man is important and what he means to her. Again, there isn't much room for character development. It's just a crucial point that leads to a significant moment in her story. Back to Miguel, he's trying to grow accustomed to the countryside. There's no cellular service, he befriends a stray cat, does the occasional grocery shopping, and is freezing his nuts off all the time. Things don't progress until the next day when his neighbor, Gunnar Nielsen, delivers 40 years worth of notes and research, and he takes a walk with Henrik to point out the neighbors / potential suspects.
Your closest neighbor is my brother, Harald. Another Nazi, if you can believe. 2 in the family. His daughter, Cecilia, lives over there. They don't speak. Isabella, Harriet's mother, who lives there, she speaks to Harald, which is one of the reasons I don't speak to her. Cecilia's brother, Birger, lives over there. Out there, my grandnephew Martin's house, Harriet's brother.
Quickly losing track of who's who here.
Oh, how you'd wish it were always so.
No, it isn't. This movie's trying to make you believe that, but it really isn't. But then it follows up with a montage of Miguel studying the notes, which I can appreciate. The visuals complementing each detail as Miguel skims serves its purpose to condense the material from the book to reach the same conclusion. The typical interviews with the family, the amount of searches put into this investigation, it's all here, plain and simple. Both ways were okay with me, but for a movie, this was a smart choice. This then leads to the first interview with Detective Morel. He gives input on the 40-year-old case and helps Miguel understand Harriet's datebook, specifically the last page.
The last page that I was curious about.
As was I.
The list of names, numbers, and must have some significance.
They were all local phone numbers. The fourth, RL, belonged to Rosemary Lawson, an elderly woman who died. The other three were not connected in any way that I could find.
Back to Lisbeth, she's meeting with her new appointed guardian, Björnman. Compared to Palm Green, this guy is stricter and treats Lisbeth like the mentally ill child everyone still assumes she is. Just barely scraping the surface, there's nothing saying why she needs a guardian in the first place. The movie continues to keep her a mystery. You see, Lisbeth is like an ogre. She's got layers. Behind that tough act, there's a story behind her. Too bad we'll rarely get to see it. This poster will pretty much tell you all you need to know about her. Back to Miguel, he pays a visit to Martin Vangeer, just so the audience can get acquainted with the family. Why is it that Miguel's as dull as a doorknob, yet Martin keeps his charm and charisma? His character was done right. His hospitality, his lady friend showing evidence of a bachelor quality, and is none the wiser about Miguel's intentions.
You were here that day, yes?
I came in a little later after the accident on the bridge with a 4:30 train.
I know it well.
Oh, terrible day.
A likely story, Martin. A likely story. Back to Lisbeth, there's a quick scene of her visiting Palm Green and then a mugging scene leading to her laptop breaking. It works better than the original reason since it ties into her wicked skills in combat. The real crime here is this man's stupidity. What kind of robber tries to make a quick steal but then immediately slows down just a few feet from the victim? Yeah, I'm pretty much scum, but my mom always taught me to be safe right up the escalator. Dude, you deserve to get your ass kicked. Back to Miguel, we're introduced to Cecilia Vangeer. Unlike Martin, she's smart and catches on to Miguel's bullshit cover story. A bit of a snooper herself, she's very observant and strong-headed with the questions.
We are all uncomfortable with the idea of a chronicle of our family.
Not about the family, it's about Henrik and the company.
Like I said. So what you're saying is you're not really here to find out what happened to Harriet?
Since you brought her up, what was she like? What was Harriet like?
I'm sure Henrik has told you. Actually, my sister Anita was closer to her in age. She knew Harriet better than anyone. You should talk to her.
Love to. Where is she?
If I had to guess, London. If you do, and try talking to her about us, don't be surprised if she tells you to fuck off.
An interesting woman indeed. Back to Lisbeth and their now broken computer, she needs to ask Björnman for money. And she gets it, but in trade for a small favor.
I want you to have that computer.
This scene is one of the darkest this movie offers. Shows Björnman and his abuse of power and makes Lisbeth swallow more than just her pride. Oh God, please, sterilize your tongue. Thank you. Back to Miguel, we get something new to the narrative as he travels to London and meets with Anita Vangeer. A clever way transferring the information regarding Harriet's strange behavior on that parade day since it was never shared through dialogue but within Miguel's own inner thoughts. This next scene, however, I remember fondly well. Lisbeth goes back to Björnman for more money, but this time meeting at his place. She's expecting to perform another blowjob, but Björnman has other plans. David Fincher did justice to this scene. This is in fact a rape scene, and it's very weird saying how well it's been captured, but it's true. The tone for this movie has been pretty consistent in being dark and grungy, so it fits perfectly for this moment. The numerous camera shots in different angles capturing every perspective of this disastrous experience. From the sheer terror of Lisbeth's struggles to the calm yet menacing pace of Björnman is enough to describe misery. It captured the mood. Definitely captured the mood. Violated and hurt, Lisbeth takes her check and walks back home, spending the night washing away her bruises and sorrow. Next morning switches back to Mikael meeting with Erika, as they are both invited to meet with Henrik and Martin to discuss the Millennium business. The Vangeers won in, but with a different reason. Book was due to investment purposes, movie is for borrowing Mikael's free time. Either way, Venestrom is still the issue.
The enemies of my friends are my enemies.
And how this movie always handles its decisions, they think about the offer over sex. Everything's good to go as Henrik publicly announces his partnership with Millennium, gaining the attention of Lisbeth. Mikael goes back to the mystery when he finally stumbles on the first clue with the photographs. Again, these moments utilize the fast pacing to their advantage. This movie is practically built on quiet scenes, and it's effective because the visuals are shot well enough to guide the narration. Following the events and emphasizing the pictures, we understand their significance and what Mikael is brainstorming. When it comes to the mystery, the movie proves to be at the top of its game. Back to Lisbeth, she returned to Björnman's place for more money, but round 3 is taking a whole different direction.
I feel a bit badly how we left it last time.
Me too.
The next minute, he's waking up in the middle of some crazy dominatrix porno, which is so rightfully deserved. We've already seen what she's capable of, and her actions here are 100% justified, but blackmailing him with the video she captured through her handbag isn't enough. She wants to instill fear into this man. She's taking back control of her money, her revenge, and Björnman himself. So let this be a lesson, people.
Look at me.
Don't fuck with Lisbeth Salander. After claiming her life back, we switch back to Mikael as his daughter is visiting, and I'm not too upset with this. We got a scene with Pernilla earlier in the film about her interest in religion. Touching upon that again, it feels useful and not completely random.
Oh, don't go too hard on the Catholics.
What?
The article you're writing.
Oh, I'm not writing an article about Catholics.
The Bible quotes. By your dance.
This helps Mikael discover the second major clue, Bible quotes in relation to the deaths of other victims.
If a dove is the sinner's offering, the priest shall wring off its head, cleave its wings, and burn it upon the altar.
Detective Morell, it's Mikael Blomkvist.
Yes, hello, how are you?
You know that Rebecca case you mentioned?
Would you recall her last name?
Rebecca Jakobsson.
And how was she killed?
She was decapitated. Her arms were cut off and she was burned.
But as he's one step closer, of course something happens. Apparently Henrik suffered from a heart attack and is unable to participate for the remainder of the film. Putting that aside, Mikael asks Dirk for a research assistant for the clues he recently discovered. Dirk recommends him to Lisbeth, slipping his tongue about her digging dirt on him, which Mikael brings up with her boss.
I can't find any record of her, and I'm pretty good at that kind of thing.
The reason you can find no record of her is because her records have been sealed. She's a ward of the state.
What's that got to do with anything?
She's had a rough life. Can we please not make it any rougher?
Yeah, definitely looks like she's aching over there. Also, doesn't this club look so faded? No, seriously, the scenes are being faded in and out. It's like we're playing fill in the blanks right now. But that's fine, because our two protagonists are finally meeting. Lisbeth is waking from a one-night stand as Mikael knocks on her door and invites himself in. They talk over breakfast about his case proposal, and it's fun. After an hour and 10 minutes, I'm starting to be interested in these characters interacting with one another. Daniel Craig and Rooney Mara show some great chemistry and charm to a scene that's still advancing the plot, but also adding some personality. The horny journalist and freaky hacker, a duo no one can beat. With Lisbeth now in the case, she's going to work fast. She's checking out police stations for records, following them up with Bible quotes, and checking out the sites of connected murders. Mikael is pretty much slacking at this point, paying dear old Henrik a visit. And we get a chance to see the Vangeer family all together in one spot.
Tell him to pack his things and leave.
Mother, please.
Isabella, Mr. Blomqvist works for him.
We should put this to a vote.
Go back to Stockholm. When we need a family chronicle written by a libelist, we know who to call.
What a splendid group of characters we have here. So much love. In due time, Lisbeth comes to Hedestad to report her findings.
The second MH is Mari Holmberg, a prostitute in Kalmar. She was raped and stabbed, but the cause of death was suffocation with a sanitary napkin. RL Raquel Lund, 1957, a cleaning woman and part-time palm reader, tied with a clothesline, gagged, raped, head crushed with a rock. Sarovit, 1964, daughter of a pastor, tied to her bed, raped, charred in the fire that burned down her house.
So many victims, and what they eventually pieced together is that because all the names are biblical, they were all Jewish, and seeing as the only anti-Semitic is Henrik's brother Harold, they got good reasons to be suspicious. They sleep on this discovery, and the next morning Lisbeth is snooping through Mikkel's work with the photos, opening a lead to search for a lady who possibly snapped a photo at whatever Harriet was looking at that day. But again, being one step closer...
Fuck!
He was a good cat. The stray, but arguably the best actor in the film. We will miss you, Whiskers. After that graphic warning, the two split up again. Mikkel is on a wild goose chase until actually finding the same lady who still has those photos for Mikkel to study. Lisbeth is borrowing equipment to beef up the cabin security and also to check on Björnman.
How's your sex life? Let's see a little more enthusiasm for my recovery in next month. Don't speak. I don't want to hear your voice, just nod. And stop visiting tattoo removal websites, or I'll do it again. Right here.
This scene felt so right. She's gotta keep him in line. Always watching, always judging. Never forget! Back in Hedestad, Mikkel decides it's time to visit Gottfried's cabin in the woods, just to get a good feel from Harriet's old lifestyle. But as he's leaving... he's running for dear life in the woods as Lisbeth is putting the final touches in the security cameras. Mikkel comes home with a bloody head and Lisbeth tries to help him with some classic home remedies such as warm water and dental floss. After the wound's been sealed, they proceed to whoa! And what's the reason behind this?
I like working with you.
I like working with you too.
Is that really enough? Lisbeth is quite the wild card in this, isn't she? There's nothing to really indicate that they were going to be a thing. The book provided a few details here and there about Mikkel being different from the other men in her life. Could we just have some more slow scenes, like their first meeting? Something that isn't about the case for 2 minutes to let this whole booty call phase be reasonable. And speaking of booty calls, Mikkel's love for Cecilia is pretty much shoved to the side for this film. Which really is fine. I mean, he's already got Erica, now Lisbeth. Adding Cecilia to the mix would have just made him a real horn dog. He's just a journalist. He's not James Bond. Or Batman. Mikkel meets with Dirk and Martin the next day to gain permission for the files of the Vangear Corporation. They seem a little hesitant before Martin gives the okay, and the team splits yet again. Doing what she does best, Lisbeth is handling the research on the corporation's history, past business deals, and all that nonsense. Mikkel makes a meeting with Harold in his home, and from what Henrik told us, he doesn't seem so terrible.
Thank you for seeing me.
Come in. Tea?
Please.
This is not the crazy brother Henrik described. He's too old and feeble. Way less expressive than the book had him. All in all, both Mikkel and Lisbeth come to a similar conclusion. From Harold's old photos, Mikkel comes across one of a younger Martin and matches it to the lady's photos, contradicting his story. Through her extensive work, Lisbeth matches up the murder dates and locations around the same time Gottfried was representing the Vangear Corporation, showing a small connection. By now, this should all be coming together. But as they're one step closer, While Lisbeth is busy getting more info, Mikael decides to confront Martin for some answers. He goes to his home, realizing that he's not there, and trespasses inside for some exclusive snooping. Martin eventually comes back, and Mikael tries to sneak back out, but incredibly fails in doing so.
Mikael! Hi there!
So he's invited back inside, talking about the case and the joys of hunting, and before you know it, he's a hostage. Martin brings Mikael down into a dungeon for a good gassing, making it easier to chain him up and relish in the moment. I prefer this scene over the book because Martin still keeps his composure. In the book, it seemed as though there was too quick a shift in his character becoming psychotic the moment he chains up Mikael, but here it seems more natural. There's still a hint of delicacy in his voice and the utter confidence that he's victorious. He didn't need to go all cartoon evil. This works just fine. As they're talking, Lisbeth is riding back home only to notice that Mikael isn't around. She looks back through her security footage and finds Martin doing his own snooping. And when we come back to the torture, the movie's Martin takes it one step further. It's easy to hang someone, but to also wrap a plastic bag around their face is complete overkill. Not to mention the unzipping.
Never had a man in here before.
Please don't give him a man. Oh Lord, please don't give him a man!
Hey.
Oh, a golf club. That's pretty manly. Lisbeth whacks the shit out of Martin and rescues Mikael. Martin makes a run for it and Lisbeth is given permission to
go for the kill.
Martin escapes in his car, turning this into a chase scene. Lisbeth has the advantage in her motorcycle, taking out Martin and causing him to flip into the air. You know, maybe Lisbeth is willing to let the system handle this. Maybe not become a murderer and let life take its now we'll never know. Following the next day, police are investigating the crash while an injured Mikael is waking up to Lisbeth and she becomes as vulnerable as she can be.
I tried to kill my father. Burned him alive. Got about 80% of him.
Unfortunately, the case is still continuing as Martin had no clue himself about Harriet. So they drop the idea of murder and begin to think if she might have actually escaped the island. And once again, it's back to London to pester Anita. They first go with the book's route by bugging her communication lines, but that's a bust.
She's still playing solitaire? She hasn't called anyone?
No.
Okay, that got a small laugh out of me, I'll admit. But after some quick sex, Mikael figures out one other possibility why Anita didn't call Harriet.
What is it now?
Before he died, your brother hung me from a hook. Harriet.
Anita is actually Harriet. Wait, what? Then where the hell is Anita? Now apparently, she and her husband died in a car accident. Okay, I'm confused because in the book, Mikael finds Harriet hiding out in Australia running a sheep ranch. Personally, it was more elaborate, tied into the book's CEO issues, and the story Larson constructed for this part was believable. But whatever, right? At least Harriet's found. It just cost the life of another character. But again, whatevs. Anyway, Harriet gives her side of the story. By the age of 14, she was being raped by her father and watched by her brother. She was the one who killed Godfrey when he was trying to kill her. Martin saw the whole thing, tormenting her with blackmail. Martin was sent away from home, and thinking she was safe, Harriet began enjoying her life again. But on that parade day, Martin came back, and Harriet made the ultimate decision to escape. With the help of Anita, she stayed in hiding until she was able to sneak in the trunk of a car and ride off to safety. Damn. Just damn. But at least now we could say that it's all safe and sound. And that's exactly what Mikael confirms. He concludes this case by bringing Harriet back to Henrik safe and sound. They don't really build up from the moment, but seeing those tears flow was more than enough from what the book offered emotion-wise. And you'll never guess who gets screwed over.
I'm sure he thought that you could destroy Veniston with this in the court of public opinion.
The court of public opinion now celebrates people's bad behavior.
He's an elderly man.
He promised me Venestrom's carcass on a plate. This isn't even the plate. I can't do anything with this.
Yes, of course.
All this time and all this work for absolute crap! Well, that's fine, because now that Lisbeth and Miguel are best fuck buddies now, she's willing to share the dirt she's been collecting on Venestrom early on in the film.
They launder money from arms and drug sales and crime syndicates in Russia. And that money accounts for all but 5% of his holdings. The rest ends up in accounts in the Cayman Islands.
And how do you know this?
This time you don't want to know.
Oh, we know. And who cares? They got what they need to screw him over. But not quite just yet. Miguel writes a large article based on Venestrom's allegations and crimes, while Lisbeth borrows money to go through a complete beauty transformation and forgery to completely empty out Venestrom's bank accounts. Again, parallel to the beginning, the technical portions of the story is slimmed down to the basics, and the subtlety from the news adds to the narrative. There's no way I can fault the movie for making this ending easier to understand than the book's methods. It really is amazing to see how some of the details were just unnecessary. With the news of Lisbeth's deeds out in the public, she meets with Miguel one last time, handing him the borrowed money and walking away. But why is it at the very end we get some development for her? She's talking to Palmgreen about her friend, gets a really cool jacket for her friend, takes the time to write a letter for her friend. And if you still think friend means friend, look back again. But as Lisbeth goes to deliver her gift, she sees Miguel and Erica together. She says fuck it, tosses the jacket and rides off, ending the girl with the dragon tattoo. Well gang, we solved the mystery. And it was fun. But who told it better? Well, David Fincher definitely provided some great cinematography, had a good control of lighting that reflected the appropriate tone for each scene, and emphasized the more dramatic scenes with care and attention that captured the original source. So, it's only the logical choice to say that the book wins. I pretty much already gave away my reasons, but let's recap on some good things about the movie. First of all, Rooney Mara as Lisbeth, the best character in this movie and the most accurate. The design on her character really didn't go that route of Hollywood pretty and made her appear as someone you wouldn't normally see yourself with. The chopped up hairdo, the piercings, the tattoos, and even the look of anorexia brought Miss Salander to life. Not just her look, but also her behavior seemed to be on point, never seeming like she wants to connect with another human being, making people work for her affection. I really enjoyed watching her and everything she did in this movie. And of course, shortening the Venestrom plot to about 3 minutes. At least for the beginning and ending, the way it was executed here was tolerable. I still would have liked the mystery to somehow mesh with this plot thread, but this is just fine as well. The movie knew where the meat of the story was, and to give too much time to Miguel dealing with Venestrom would have driven some people away. This movie just looks awesome. It feels awesome, and it would have definitely won if the characters just felt more alive. That intro in the beginning gave a good idea about this movie, quickly paced and nothing but the plot. It was just scene after scene of setting up the case, working on the case, solving the case, and the end. I know that's how it's supposed to be, but there should have been slower scenes to show more of these characters outside the plot. Daniel Craig, while very talented, played Miguel a little dry, and some of the time I really couldn't understand half of the words being said. The book created him as a man with a plan, always prepared. He even had a character growth by the end that challenges his journalistic instincts, but this movie gives none of that. Just a man solving the case. And that feeling of empowered woman? Didn't get that here. Erica had little to no role in this, and even when she was on screen, it was not the same woman who argued her ideals and got shit done. It was a simple, soft-voiced woman who didn't interfere and went along with the plot. Even with Lisbeth, nothing was really explored. I would have even taken some of her expressive t-shirts she wore in the book, but the movie kept her in the shadows for too long. A mysterious girl who shall remain mysterious till the very end. All these characters had amazing development, but only limited to the book. This movie just didn't feel like it was part of a trilogy. I can't see myself wanting to return to see another one of these. Aside from the very end with Lisbeth's conflicting lust for Miguel, nothing else in this movie instigated that there will be a sequel. It was very plot focused and didn't try to develop these characters other than the scripted actions that happen in the book. The investigation montages, while great for screen time by cutting down the thought processes, also eliminated portions where the characters took time to just talk, to simply chat and exchange their likes and dislikes. And just for curiosity's sake, I checked out the original Swedish version from 2009. It's not any better. It had what I wanted, a mixture of slow and fast scenes, but the plot itself changed so much. There's no cover story for Mikkel being in Hedestad, everyone just knows and kinda accepts it. The clue that leads to Australia feels incredibly lazy, as it's pretty much said on a piece of paper. Lisbeth is just helping Mikkel on his case with no motive or reason, just cause it happened, and their relationship didn't feel quite as strong as the 2011 version. And also their Lisbeth didn't represent the book at all and just felt more like a generic goth punk. The cinematography for this was pretty simple. It didn't instill emphasis when it came to major scenes like Lisbeth being raped or Mikkel being caught by Martin. I just didn't feel as invested as I did with the American version. Overall, at the end of the day, it just comes down to preferences. If you're just interested in the mystery, then you'll get it with this movie. It's a pretty good adaptation that covers the story well and makes the scenes larger than life. But if you want to get invested in these characters and get more of their human side, then the books definitely got you covered. With that said, those are my final thoughts on The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And if you don't agree, well then read the book, watch the movie, and make your own opinions. I'm Katana, and I'm not telling you what the next review is. Why? Because I don't have to tell you. I don't have to say one damn word about it. I could play the theme and you'll still be excited. So, let your ears enjoy this tune, and I'll see you all in the next review. Take care, guys. Hey guys, just wanted to say thanks again for watching this review. If you enjoyed it, why not subscribe and stick around for future reviews. Also, follow me on Facebook and or Twitter to stay updated. Enjoyed this dark little European tale? Well, I got a sad one waiting for you in Nazi Germany if you watch my last review on The Boy in the Striped Pajamas. Got a book/movie review you'd like to see one day? Well, just leave a suggestion in the comments down below and I'll be sure to check it out. In the meantime, I'm going to enjoy some coffee and a nice sandwich while playing on my Star Wars laptop with a 1TB hard drive and a backlit keyboard. $399.99. Bye.